It's probably going to be that. And I'm going to be like...
So...
Hey!
So somebody told me that at the first of the lives, because there's a drag or whatever, that you are supposed to go.
And then go?
Yeah. And then it'll make your thumbnail.
We should just smile. We should be like... Nobody's on and watching
hey,
this right now.
Two
but
people.
We always have the funniest thumbnails that save for the freeze frame, you know, for the video before it plays. And it is. We've had some really good ones.
They're so awkward.
But it's usually because we're awkward in the beginning of these videos.
You're like, didn't know that thing was on.
All right, guys, we are on here a few minutes early. So school is not out for us, so we're still doing these a little bit earlier. And we may even just change the time to 10:30 every time because it works. But welcome. It is week 1 for the Clean Kitchen 12-week challenge. As you know, it's actually 13 weeks because you just had setup week last week. And we hope that you didn't find it too terribly difficult getting set up to start your week 1 habits on this past Sunday that you just had. So, as you know, it's pretty simple. May not be easy,
but
simple. It is simple. Okay?
It's very simple.
So the habits are, and you may be thinking like, why is it so simple? Well, we want you to basically put your money where your mouth is and actually do simple before you can do complicated. Because complicated doesn't mean success.
No.
At all. Usually, it is the killer of progress. Complexity is the killer of progress. So that's why we start the challenge out in these simple habits. Now, you may be thinking too simple right now, but as the weeks progress, they're going to gradually build. And you have the choice on how far you push those habits and how far you want to take it. Because right now, you're already doing things that you weren't doing just last week. And I hope you guys filled out your pre-CK food log to get an actual, idea of what you were doing just prior to these week 1 habits. Because I guarantee you, whenever it rolls around, even week 8, and you're thinking that you're not doing that well, or you're failing at something, it's a good idea to look back at that pre-CK food log and just realize how much has actually changed. Not necessarily progress or physical, but in your actions, in what you're doing every day. And that's the goal of the program, is to get you to act differently and make different choices and do this consistently day after day after day, because that's what healthy people do.
Yep. I mean, and the other thing that's very important to do is, she said, do the pre-CK food log. So have that so you can look back. So that's like a data point. Mm-hmm. And then take the photo.
Take the photo.
Even if you're like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to show them to anybody. 100%. I get it.
You don't want to upload them. You don't have to upload them.
That's fine. But just keep them, because I promise you, if you stick with it, you're going to see a massive change. 1 in the food log, and then 2 in the photos.
Yes.
Because we as coaches have done it, for forever, and looking at these before and after photos, and there's always improvement. Always. Even if it's very, very small, there's always improvement.
And if you feel like you're not making progress, we'll start, directing you to non-scale victories too, or non-body comp changing, victories, because those are going to happen too. Those have to happen before the physical changes happen. It's like we talk about watering your seed. You just planted a seed, and we've got to water it every single day and watch it grow. So the habits are, like I said, simple. This week, your water habit is just to drink more water. I'm in a good habit of drinking a lot of water, and I know whenever I don't drink a lot of water, I feel it. And so you may be thinking oh my God, I'm going to go to the bathroom 50 times every day for the rest of my life. You adjust to it. It's going to be fine, but just think, if you were normally drinking just 1 bottle of water or a cup of water or no water, you're just trying to drink more water, okay? And next week, those habits are going to change, and you'll see through the weeks they're going to kind of ramp up a little bit. And then there's the plant habit. So the goal of the plant habit is really just to get you in the habit of thinking about adding a whole food to your plate. So I don't even care what it is.
No, a plant.
If it grew, it had roots, you eat
Eat it.
Yeah, like fruit.
But what about potatoes? Yes.
Eat it. What about bananas?
Eat it.
Eat it. You know, so we're just getting in that habit of thinking of how to build our plates. And so, yes, it is a simple way of thinking about it, but put your money where your mouth is. Do you eat a plant every time you eat a meal?
Mm-hmm.
You know, the next
Man.
the next habit is the protein habit. You've gotten obviously examples on how to what that portion size would look like. Those are just rough estimates. It's not something necessarily like just hard in stone. If you're a little bit hungrier, eat a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is with Mother Nature, she's always got your back, and she's like, nobody ever got gained a ton of weight by eating a little bit more chicken.
Nah.
You know, they gain weight by eating honey buns. A lot.
A lot of things.
And so, you know, just think of it as a range. If you're hungrier, add some more plants to the plate. Have a little bit more protein. Totally fine. We're going to even go over, you know, carb, portion sizes and stuff like that a little bit later, but that is in your habit card as well. The next one is the vitamin habit.
Filling in your gaps.
Filling in your gaps. So most of you guys are probably not eating like a ton of meals where you're getting a ton of plants in. So that's where the vitamin habit comes in. Now, not everybody's going to need a vitamin. Like, legit not going to need it. Like, maybe you do get enough vitamins from your food, or maybe it just doesn't agree with you. That's totally fine. You could replace that habit with something else. Like, if you're like, oh, I'm going to drink my greens, you know, and that's my vitamin, or, you know, whatever. I mean, fish oil is obviously a really good one to have as your vitamin habit as well, but, you know, you can also customize that if it doesn't agree with you. But then the last one, which was the first one that we worked on, the sleep habit. And everybody's like, what?
What? So I just paid money for this program. They're going to tell me to go to sleep earlier and drink water in the first 2 weeks.
Yes.
Because it is the foundation
Oh my
of
gosh.
what you got to do to regulate your hormones, to make you feel better, to fix everything.
So,
what's that? And not to dive in the weeds too much on this, but what's the stat where it says if you're on average, if you're sleeping like 5 hours a night, like you could basically you won't become a type 2 diabetic, but you're pretty much changing all of your blood work and hormones to where it looks like you're pre-diabetic.
Because your hormones control everything. They are your little messengers that tell your body and your cells and all the things what to do. So you have to think about it like, if sleep is such a huge factor in the way that our hormones work and tell our body what to do, and you're sleep deprived,
you're screwing the whole system up.
You're fighting against your biology. And I think I said that in one of the lessons, like either last week or this week. It was like, you know, we're hardwired to survive. So your brain, like, you know, whenever you get like the cravings and like want to eat junk and stuff like that, especially like at the end of the day, you know, whenever you get like bottomless pit mode, maybe you didn't eat enough, and that's just your body and you want all the carbs. That's your body knows that it needs carbs, and the fast digesting ones, like the processed ones, are going to go to your brain faster. So then you want all the chips, you want all the things. Of course, they taste better than like, say, like a potato or something like that. But it's your biology working against you, and you're trying to rely on willpower when it's your body. Like, your brain needs some energy because you have depleted it. And so with either under eating and with no sleep. And so with sleep, you're going to give yourself just an upper hand without even having to do anything. You know, it's like the easiest thing to do is to try to get more sleep. It doesn't cost anything. You don't have to prepare anything. You just have to be an adult and give yourself a bedtime.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I know whenever I'm feeling sluggish, brain fog, all the things, I can look back on how many days I didn't get enough sleep, and I'm like, and that's usually the culprit. And it always happens. I'm always like starving, hungry. I always want to like eat all the things, you know. I don't want to do what I know I should do. Like, I'm not motivated, you know. But when you have a well-rested brain, you're gonna make better decisions. And so we want to make better decisions. You're just starting out this journey And so that's why it's the number one habit in CK is sleep, is because it's so much important to help you make good decisions and plan ahead and like be motivated to do these hard things that you're about to embark on.
Yeah.
You know,
There was an NFL player, I think it was J.J. Watt, and he is with the Texans. I think he's getting traded anyways. But that was the one thing he said that he fixed, was he was consistently sleeping 6-ish hours a night. And in the NFL, you know, you're getting beat up and you're training all the time and traveling and all that. And he was getting to where he worked up to where he was getting 10 hours of sleep. I know that's like, for parents,
Yeah.
like, there's no way.
Yeah.
But he worked up to that to where he was finding places and times to nap and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So if the best in the world are saying, hey,
Yeah.
that's a performance enhancement,
Yeah.
is to get some extra sleep, it's probably for us, like, if we could get 7
Yeah.
to 8, like, that would be outstanding. And you can do it, but it's like you said, that's why it's the first one. It's very important. You can do it. It's going to take the most practice to get better at it.
Yeah.
But it is giving you a stepping stone on this competition, a step up on everybody out there, as if you're getting more sleep.
Yeah, because it not only is it going to help your brain and your willpower,
You need it.
you need it, it's going to help your hormones function like they're supposed to. So in the lesson, I think this week, we talked a little bit about the tech curfew. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So we set a tech curfew. And the big thing about sleep is you want to have the right rhythms of your hormones when they turn on. Sorry, I got a tickle in my throat. When they turn on and when they turn off. And a lot of people are like, oh, cortisol. You know, it's the big bad wolf. It's not necessarily a bad thing to have high cortisol in the morning.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
If it phases out.
It's got to phase out
Yeah.
as the day goes along.
It's the do-it-all hormone that like is like the jumper cables to the battery.
Yeah,
like,
it gets
hey.
you motivated, it gets you going, it gets you like ready for the day. You know, like you want to have cortisol. It's not the goal to lower all cortisol.
Yeah, you need it.
You want it to shut down at night. But the problem with our lifestyles is that we are constantly in light, and cortisol is turned on by the sun rising. You know, that's your natural rhythm. And so in that lesson, we talk about that, of like the 3 main hormones of sleep: serotonin, cortisol, and what did I say? Melatonin.
Melatonin.
And
yes.
like serotonin, where it's thought to be like the pleasure hormone, it's actually the seeking hormone. So like where we want to keep searching for stuff. That's why social media is so addicting. And why
And then you get a hit of dopamine when you get a like.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Dopamine is was thought to do that, and
Yeah.
dopamine's actually the seeking one. So whenever we're like searching, we keep getting that hit of dopamine, and it's like that drug drip, and it's just we want to keep searching.
Ooh,
for
piece
it.
of candy.
Yeah.
Ooh, piece of candy. That's
Yeah.
what those lights do for you. And that's why we're like, cut the tech off, go to sleep. Because
Yeah.
the blue light that you're staring at,
It's
not
making
good.
cortisol turn on. And so if you're at night scrolling and you got that blue light, or any lights
Yeah.
above your head,
Yeah.
you know, anything like that is super bright, it's going to tell you, oh, it's daylight. I need to be awake. You know, so we want that cortisol to slowly, gradually fade throughout the day, and then melatonin can kick in. Because if cortisol's on, melatonin can't be on. They can't exist in the same,
Yeah.
you know, space. And so one of the good things about eating carbohydrates at night is that it actually helps melatonin turn on. So, you know, everyone's like, oh, I'm not gonna eat carbs. But if you did, number one, it would help settle you and turn on melatonin, and you probably wouldn't get like the crazy munchies either.
Yeah, and if you're eating a slow digesting smart carb, which we'll figure out what those are
Right.
later, that's super beneficial.
Yeah. And so the goal is to naturally produce melatonin in your body. Like, I'm not saying like you can't use things to help you, but if you're chronically, you know, downing melatonin gummies and stuff like that, you may need to think about trying to fix that. And how can you, it'll be a hard transition, you know, to figure out how to turn off your cortisol, but there's certain daily actions that you can do throughout the day to do that, to start producing more melatonin naturally. Because melatonin doesn't just, you know, it doesn't put you to sleep. It is your,
Kind of like settles you, right?
it settles you, but then it also determines the quality of sleep. Like, do you stay asleep?
Yeah.
You know, so if you don't stay asleep during the day, during the night, then there's something off. Like if you're always like waking up and don't sleep easy, you know, there's something wrong that's, you know, cortisol, whatever it is. I don't know. I mean, I'm not a doctor of that, but it's, I know that the levels are off and something's not switching on like it should. And so, you know, one of the ways that what helps me is magnesium. That's one vitamin that I take every single night before I go to bed. It also helps with a lot of other things like, you know, repairing muscle, you know, just recovery in general. But it is one of those essential minerals that not a lot of people get if they're not eating a lot of plants.
Yeah.
So I take magnesium, and that just helps me like settle down, go to sleep. I stay asleep. You know, I don't necessarily have to take melatonin because magnesium would help my natural melatonin start, you know, producing. So that's the goal of the sleep habit, is to try to get us better rested, less brain fog, and making better decisions. But that is a really good lesson that y'all got this week about the tech curfew and turning off those blue lights. It's always a goal to not, and I know how hard it is. I mentioned on the Facebook page, I set timers. Set a timer, and you can even set your apps to shut down. Now, of course, they can say, it always asks you, like, do you want 1 more minute or 15 minutes?
Yes.
And you just keep hitting it. Now, that defeats the purpose. Like, it's just one of those things that you built a habit of sitting in that bed or sitting in that chair wanting to, like, erase your brain and scroll. And instead, you would be better just going to sleep.
Yeah, and we're
just go to sleep.
And look, and we're not saying like, I mean, we're real. We do that. We scroll, but if you can get better at saying, hey, I'm about to go to bed at what time? Let's say 9:30. Okay, and let's say, all right, well at 9:15, put your phone down and then go through your nighttime routine of, let me set out my car keys, let me set out my clothes, let me get this, let me get this, let me do that kind of stuff, and then that's going to help you a little bit break that habit. And then maybe it starts at 9:10 and you get an extra 20 minutes of just laying in the bed to where you can start to go to sleep.
Just settle down, and then you'll stay asleep. Like what I mentioned about waking up in the middle of the night. If you're always on your phone, that's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
We're going to talk about caffeine too.
Why?
That's gonna hit some.
Buzzers.
Yeah,
I don't want you to talk about it.
Like for me personally, I was drinking caffeine too late in the afternoon.
I did it just this week.
Yeah, and he was like, I could not stay asleep. I was like, what did you drink?
Yeah, about 150 milligrams of caffeine at 4 o'clock.
And that's why.
Sorry.
But we'll get into that later. Anyway, if you have any questions about, you know, the upcoming week, just remember, you don't do anything if you were, you know, just getting overwhelmed by something, reach out to your coach, but keep up with your lessons.
Yep.
You can listen to them, you
Yep.
can read them.
You can watch them, you can do whatever.
Even if you don't do the habits as listed, like that's fine too. We're just trying to be better than we were the week before.
That's
you know, there's no hard rules. Where I know a lot of people like to make hard rules, but there's really not. We're just trying to move the needle week by week, day by day, just be a little bit better. And I promise by the end of this, you stick with it, you listen to those lessons, it will slowly change your perspective. We are trying to retrain your brain, especially this first month, because I know all of you are trying to be psycho about your food. We take the psycho out. So if you have any questions, just reach out to your coach, ask him on the page.
Yep.
We will be happy to answer, and we love having conversation on the Facebook pages, whether it's in your, you know, private class page or this main page. Ask the questions, get the conversations going. I promise it'll help every bit of this journey. All right, so we will see y'all next week for week 2. Be on the lookout for those new habits on Sunday are going to change. All right, we will see y'all later.
Have a good one.